Hey there, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today we're playing with the Norns palette from unwise to do this eyeshadow look. If you want to see how I did it, then stick around. Also, if you're new here, hey, my name is Rachel. I'm a homeschooling stay-at-home mom who enjoys colorful eyeshadow. I do upload several videos a week, and they're usually like an eyeshadow tutorial or look while talking about something else. So in today's video, we're going to be chatting about the word collection and how we use it when it comes to specifically this makeup or eyeshadow hobby. I already primed my eyes with the Glamlight Icing Primer. Today I used the white frosting shade because it's a white base, so it works really well with light toned, cool toned, or pastel looks. Today I'm probably going to go in the cool tone direction. I want to play with the Norns palette from unwise. I actually had this palette and listed it for sale and nobody was interested in buying it. I brought it back into my collection. I'm like, you know what, let's give it some more time. I did a week of the Norns palette. Week of is a series on my channel where I dedicate an entire week of uploads to just one palette, and I fell back in love with this. Oh my goodness, it's really beautiful. So today I'm hoping that whatever look I come up with is not one that I've already done. It didn't take the time to go back and check, but if it is, then I will put it in the screen somewhere. Hopefully it's unique. Today I think I want to play with the gray and purple tones and one or two of these bottom shades. I'm not sure, but I do have a palette pull-in, which is a project where I can card that above for you. I'm working through a specific palette in consecutive order. I finally, after putting it off for some time, finally used this shade. For some reason, I just wasn't excited about this shade, and it kept not working in the looks I was doing. Anyway, that brings us to Waterfalls, which probably will work for today's plan. It might be a bit boring, actually, but, you know, we're going to incorporate it somehow. So let's get going with this video. All right, in the Norns palette, we're diving into the shade Dazed. I think I have a plan for this. I wanted to talk to you guys about the word collection and how the word collection has altered our mindset. I never thought about the concept of a makeup collection or an eyeshadow palette collection until I got involved in this arena. Now the same brush into Mist. I had not really heard that term used before in such a context, and it was just a natural flow for me because I was officially engrossed in the beauty YouTube space and the beauty Instagram space, and I was just all in, you know? And because I was all in, I too started using the word collection to refer to the eyeshadow palettes which I owned. Now for me, it's really about the eyeshadow. I don't have much else in the way of beauty products. Compared to a lot of other people who are in this space, I have a small collection, but I do have a lot of eyeshadow palettes. And again, it's a lot for me, but compared to somebody who perhaps is a full-time YouTuber or who loves to collect, it might not be that much. It's all relative, right? Let's leave the lower lash line alone. I think I have another plan for that. I'm wondering about the word collection and how it has affected my mentality towards spending money. I know I'm not the only one. So if you feel that you can relate, or if I happen to switch the pronouns in this video and say you or others, whatever. What I mean is, do the connotations of the word alter our behavior, or at least influence our behavior? Do we find ourselves bringing more into our lives, like buying more, because we say collection and the idea or the connotations of the word feels like plenty or multiple items, a variety, an array, an assortment? Or conversely, do we declutter less? You know, maybe we have bought things and we don't declutter them because they complete our collection. Maybe you have like a collector's mindset where you wanted all of the BH Cosmetics Disney palettes, and so you got them just because they were a set. Or you wanted the BH Birthstone palettes, or you wanted, you know, everything from Juvia's Place. You know, maybe it's a completionist kind of mentality where you just want all the things that fit within that set because it feels whole, it feels satisfying. I am so sorry. I got massively interrupted by my kids, but especially my toddler, whom I'm trying to potty train again. Anyway, I don't even know what I was saying. I was talking about collection and whether or not it is a word which encourages us to buy more or declutter less. So that's about what I was talking about, really. Let's move into some shimmers. I'm not sure what to do. I don't like my looks to be really matchy to my outfit. So this is the first shimmer that my eye looks to, because it's very similar to what I'm wearing in one of its flips. These are all like duo or multi-chromes. It's gorgeous, but I don't think that I want it to be the focal point of my look. So then I move over to, I was thinking this one. This was my original plan. This is basically just blue purple. But then there's Self over here, which is, again, gorgeous. Self has a purple, blue, green, teal kind of shift. This one is kind of between this one and this one. It's sort of a merging of those two colors. And it would be different, but I kind of think I want to stay over here. This is a blue purple. Actually, there's pink in here too. I think I'm going to just stay there. I'll pick it up with my brush. This, by the way, is the older formulation of the Norns palette. This palette has since been re-released in the updated packaging and the newer formulation to deal with a couple of more problematic shades in here. I really want that one. I have trouble justifying it because it's not like I've used this to death. You know, I haven't hit pan in any of these, but it's so beautiful. Anyway, I'm loading up my brush with Charming and I will spray it. All right, so let's see how this goes, and I'll continue my thought process. Buying more, decluttering less, and I also want to talk about comparisons, because when we talk about collections, I think especially in this space, it's easy for us to compare our collection to that of someone else. But honestly, there are people who do this for a full-time job. It makes sense for them to have a huge assortment of eyeshadow palettes, for example, because they do comparisons, they do reviews, they get sent items in PR. This is what they do, you know. Think about Morgan Turner and how she's always comparing Natasha Denona. So she has all of the Natasha Denona palettes. It's a brand which her audience supports a lot. It makes sense for her to have all of them. And her channel is monetized, so she makes some money back for her videos in views or AdSense or affiliate links or whatever it may be. And therefore she's not spending a lot of personal money, presumably. I don't actually know. I presume that a lot of the money she spends for makeup purchases comes from channel monetization proceeds, but I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Okay, with this laid down, I've got a gap here and I've got a gap right here. I'm going to dip into the purple shimmer, which is called Obsessed. I have not had good luck with this shimmer in this formulation. It's very dry. It's just very tuggy on the skin, but I'm going to take it and put it only right here. It's a pretty color if you can get it to work. It's just a little bit challenging. Anyway, it does not behoove me. It's not wise for me to compare my collection to Morgan Turner's collection, or Angelica Nyquist's collection, or Steph's Beauty Stash, Angela Bright, Heather Austin's collection. Those girls are in a different space. This for me is a hobby. I'm a full-time homeschooling stay-at-home mom. It's not my whole life. It's not my job. It's not bringing in income. It's not paying my bills. And I don't do the kind of content that they do. You know, I'm not going to compare every ColourPop palette. I don't need to be Amanda from Makeup Just for Fun and do these really helpful, in-depth reviews and comparisons. I consume that kind of content, but that's not the space that I'm in to make it. Therefore, it doesn't make sense for me to have that kind of collection. I mean, even as a small content creator over here, me just bebopping along doing my thing, I still feel pressured to have all the new stuff. Because if I get it, I can review it, and I'll get more people drawn to my channel because they're looking for that thing. I might get more subscribers, I might get more views. You know, there's pressure to do that. But I also have to ground myself in reality. That's not the space that I'm in. That's not what I'm doing. I don't have the finances for it. I might not have the time for it, or maybe I don't love the color story, or maybe I don't love the formula. And yet, all of that being said, I still do feel pressured to buy the new things. So I have to kind of talk myself down here and there. Okay, now I want some contrast. I'm not getting enough contrast here. And I'm trying to decide where I will get that contrast. I think I'm going to forget about these tones for now because they're all quite close. So I'm looking at this one or this one or this one. Let's swatch them. Should we swatch them? Okay, Pink Chameleon, Optimism, Amber Palace. Amber Palace is kind of just a soft gold shade. Optimism is actually one of the most interesting shades in the palette. It's really hard for you to see that on my finger, but from what I remember, it's sort of a pewtery silver with like a purpley gold kind of shift. It's really interesting. And then Pink Chameleon, yeah. Pink Chameleon is white, pink, gold. I think the one that will give me the most difference, like Optimism is so close because it's silvery, blue, purple sorts of tones, would be gorgeous, but I don't know that it's different enough. Amber Palace would be different because it's much warmer than the rest of my look. And then Pink Chameleon would be really contrasty. I think I'm going to do Pink Chameleon. Just drag that over here. When I'm feeling really pressured to buy, some of the things that I do to ground myself, to bring myself back down to reality, are to play with shopping my stash. If there is a palette which is released or a look that somebody did where I'm just drooling over whatever it might be unique to see them all together in one spot. But maybe the colors themselves are not terribly special. So why don't I go into my stash and see where I have those colors and then recreate that look or do something with those colors together. And then I feel like I've scratched the itch and I don't actually need to buy the palette because I kind of have the palette. Now, sometimes something is released which truly is unique. And maybe I don't buy it because it's Ensley Rain and it's ridiculously expensive, or simply because right now I'm not dipping into personal money really for eyeshadow. It's pretty much whatever balance I might have from other sales hanging out in my Poshmark or Mercari. That's what I apply towards a new palette purchase. If I simply can't afford it, it's easy for me to say no, but I might still really want to try to dupe those vibes. Now I want to use this brighter tealy multi-chrome. I'm going to load it up on a small brush? No, a small flat brush. The shade is called Hallucination, and I will spray it because it's a little bit flaky. It's going to try to fall out on me. So when Delicious Delights was released, I pulled out my Nomad Paradise Islands palette because I happened to see Angelica's video on Delicious Delights where she was comparing it to Paradise Islands, and I thought, you know what, those arm swatches look really similar. So I duped the vibes and it scratched my itch. All of a sudden I felt like, okay, I can get something quite similar to what I'm seeing with what I already own. That was a perfect example of where shopping my stash really talked me down from wanting to buy the new thing. Now into Sydney Grace and the shade Waterfalls, same brush. I'm just going to load up the edges of it, spray that, and have some fun. Another way for me to combat these feelings of I want to buy it or I want to have a bigger collection or complete this series or whatever. Another way I do that is to stop watching new makeup releases. There are several content creators on YouTube whom I watch. Angelica, Rachel Palmieri, Heather Austin I think does it. I haven't watched her in a while, but I think she does it. Maybe Steph's Beauty Stash, Morgan Turner. Just, you know, what's new? What's new on the scene? And when I watch those videos, then I get interested in an item and I hear my favorite content creators talking about how they're interested in the item. Then I start to kind of track that item. I start to watch their channel for more maybe reviews or information or tutorials, and then I start to want that item. So if I don't watch the new makeup releases, I don't know what's out there and I can't be tempted by it. And then later on, I might see something new and I'll go, oh, I didn't even realize that that was a thing. And it doesn't hold that excitement for me. It's just another release. And I might go, that's really, really pretty. It's beautiful. Maybe I'll put it on my, try to pick up at some point list, or maybe I'll just say, that's really pretty, but I'm not feeling the fire because I wasn't invested in it from the beginning. I think that's pretty good. I'm going to do the other side and then close out this video. I have one more point to bring up as far as how we can resist the urge to buy everything new. So to finish off my thoughts with this video, and then I'll get into how I finished off the look, there was one other suggestion that I had, and that would be to play palette bingo. Palette bingo is such a fun way to challenge yourself with interesting, unique, or unexpected color combinations, and you're really forcing yourself. I have to use these 4 to 6 shades. I usually choose 5, but you have to use these colors to make a look. And I would say that on the whole, I'm pretty happy with my results when I do a palette bingo. I do have a palette bingo playlist. I can card that above for you as well. Lots of videos, lots of different palettes and brands represented. It's just a lot of fun. I've done collab videos with other people where we pull and use the same numbers and we end up with vastly different looks because you have different brains pairing these colors together in you know, your own way. It is so much fun, and palette bingo is a great way to use your stash. Hey guys, Editing Rachel here. There was actually another point, a second one that I wanted to bring up at the end of this video, which is project panning. Project panning is an excellent way to really play with what you have, dip into your stash, mix things around, get the most out of the thing in which you've already invested. You know, we've already spent our money on these palettes. We liked them enough to buy them, and we should absolutely be using them. So project panning was a final thought that I wanted to bring up. Let me tell you what I did to finish off. In my waterline, I actually used a deep green from this graphic liner palette from Artitude Cosmetics. Everything's linked down below. That is one of those items. ColourPop Super Shock Cheek blush in the shade No Vacancy. It's a lovely coral peach tone. It's very, very pretty. On my lips, I have the Deluxe Fine Lip Liner in the shade Terracotta, and then I do have Essence Juicy Balm. What is it? Just kind of a chapstick lip balm gloss sort of thing from the drugstore. That's everything for the look. I do think it's pretty. I have to go back and see if this is very similar to something I've done before with the Norns palette. I think some of these colors, yes, but then others maybe not so much. So I do think it's lovely. I would love to hear your thoughts, of course. I would love to hear your thoughts about this overarching topic. Is the word collection doing us dirty? Is it causing us to be at least influenced to be financially careless? More than that even. I don't want something which started as a hobby, a source of interest and delight, joy, and relaxation for us to become a burden. So if I feel that my collection is getting to that point, I have to pare back and I have to stop myself from being interested in new releases or what's coming out. You know, maybe that means don't watch my favorite creators for a couple of videos because they're going to be showcasing all the new stuff. I don't know. I would love to hear your thoughts on this subject. I'd love to hear your suggestions and your feedback. Of course, sometimes we can be myopic about our own perspectives or attitudes, and it's really helpful to hear the feedback or insight from other people so that we can round ourselves out better. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for clicking on my video. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I hope you will consider liking the video and subscribing to my channel before you go. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.